10 years later, it's time for justice. Justice for the pots. Justice for the fish. Justice for the pigs. Link, you stand before this tree, accused of vandalism, fishing without a license, and 47 counts of pignapping. How do you plea?
Huh?
Does that mean guilty or?
Ah!
You know, speaking of crimes, the initial reaction to this game might be one of gaming's most heinous offenses. When Nintendo revealed the very first images of The Wind Waker, the reaction was overwhelmingly negative. In fact, the criticism was just about as colorful as the graphics. Of course, the critics were wrong, but you don't have to take my word for it. Just ask them. It's amazing how many have changed their tune. Because now, a decade later, Wind Waker is finally regarded as it always should have been. It's one of the most beautiful video games ever made. Now, if you would have told me in 2004 that within a decade, Wind Waker would be remade in high definition, and that people would be okay with that, there's no way I would have believed you. And yet, here we are. And here's Link, and the boat, and those beautiful, beautiful graphics, shined up and reworked in stunning HD. The Wind Waker is gorgeous, and not just for a decade-old game. This is a gorgeous game in any year, on any platform. And playing this remake, it's like watching the end of Cinderella. All the disdain, all the neglect, it's all over. And suddenly the prettiest girl in the house is finally getting her glass slipper. So obviously, given that this is an HD remake, and that this is freaking Wind Waker, those graphics are kind of a big deal. If you've never played it, the original game was known for its style, a cel-shaded look. They made it like an interactive cartoon. And the improvements with this HD version are actually pretty minimal. I mean, it's clearer and sharper, the lighting and draw distance are improved, but the point is, it's mostly just subtle improvements, because frankly, that's all this game really needed. So specifically, there are a few things that struck me about Wind Waker in HD. First, the colors are incredibly bold, and the game's a whole lot brighter. In fact, at times the game does such a good job conveying that bright, colorful, beachside appearance that it's almost too bright. It's like sometimes you actually squint at the sun in this game, and that sets up really effective contrast. So when you're in a cave or dungeon, the darkness seems even darker, and the place just feels dangerous. And that's one of the reasons this world feels so dynamic and alive. But you know, if there's one issue, it's that when the lighting is just right, the game does this weird thing where it casts shadows on Link. So you go from the familiar cel-shaded look to this weird 3D, almost claymation Link. And that's the one change that feels like an unnecessary change, because it does detract from the game's trademark style. I mean, Toon Link already looked like familiar. And with that weird effect, it's like, what is he? A dentist? Fortunately, those moments are minimal, and it certainly doesn't negate the things this game does well, which are many. The game has less dungeons than most Zelda games, but the ones it does have are fantastic. And actually, the highlight of the gameplay is the combat. Wind Waker had much more advanced swordplay than any Zelda prior, and it happens to be populated by some of the most memorable characters the series has ever seen. In fact, the only thing brighter than Wind Waker's graphics is its personality. And you know, it's not just a pretty remake, it's also very much a Wii U game. So first off, the gamepad is incredibly useful for Zelda. It makes managing your inventory easier than ever. You just drag a weapon to a button, no need to pause or anything. And it also has your maps, which has the same effect. So there's no more browsing menus and being pulled from the experience. Another cool addition, these little messages in bottles. You can actually write a note on your gamepad and then drop it in the ocean. And then another player might find it. either floating at sea or stuck along a shoreline. It's a really clever use of online. You might find hints or pictures, and it makes an already lively world feel even more alive. It's like this time, you're not the only one sailing these seas. But the seas have never been smoother for Wind Waker. And it wasn't always like this. These waters used to be turbulent, provoked by storms of criticism as harsh as they were unfounded. This is a second chance for a game that didn't need one, a visual upgrade for a game that's been gorgeous since the day it set sail. The Wind Waker has always been a masterpiece. It's never been better or more loved than it is right now.